so exciting for everyone who's come through here, and of course the people who've been working so hard on this. So we want to introduce you to the head of place here at Michigan Central, Melissa Dittmer. Melissa, one of the stories that we did back when this was all announced was a call for the architectural items that had been not so much stolen as taken from here for preservation. And tell us what happened, because I think the clock was a big part of that.
Yeah, so when we did our call for memorabilia or items that were out of the station, we received a lot of responses. And the carriage house clock was one of the most special moments that we had, where someone reached out to us via email and said, I have the original carriage house clock. It existed on the outside of the carriage house, and when all the carriages would come in, they would see the clock up above. And at some point in time, that clock face disappeared. And so they reached out and said, we have it, we're going to return it to you because we see that you as Ford are really putting the time and effort and passion into restoring the station, and we want it to come home. And so that person left the carriage house clock in a field, covered in a blanket, and told us where it was, and we went out to get it, and our historic archivists and architects said, yes, this is the original piece. And so that was one of many examples where a big architectural element had been saved by someone because it was precious to them, because it represented so much to them, and then they returned it back to the station so it could come home.
Gives you goosebumps just listening to that story there. You can make a movie just out of that story in particular. Yep. But hey, look, there's a lot of art. You guys have done a masterful job of placing art pieces all throughout this area. How long, walk us through the process of how do you combine all these generations and, mix the past and the present and, even some of the future as well? Yeah, so it's important for us, and it continues to be important for us, to tell all the stories of the station's history in each of the chapters of the station's history. And that can be when it was fully humming and running as a train station. It can be the 30 years of vacancy, and how it wasn't just vacant, it was sort of a cultural catalyst for Detroiters. It was the inspiration for art movements, for graffiti, for creative artists, for architectural installations, countless music videos as well, right? Raves. I mean, I came to a rave or two in the station. And so all of those chapters were important in order to tell the station's history. We wanted to make sure that we kept elements from each of those chapters, and they show up in different ways around the station. They show up in the graffiti hallway, they show up in the way we restored some of the columns, and they show up in the way in which we replicate or reproduce some of the historic elements. And so as you walk through the station, you can see all of the narratives and all the chapters of the station's history.
It is absolutely phenomenal. All we can do is say folks have to come on down and see it for themselves. Melissa, congratulations.
Yeah.
I know
thank you for your time
this has been a
as
lot
well.
of blood, sweat, and tears, and it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you very much.